Say, man, Judge Paige Reese Whitaker, the judge presiding over this YSL clown case, had to bite down on the state prosecutors again for doing something that they ain't had no business doing. So basically, the defense had brought to the court's attention that the state prosecutors was having this backroom chat talking about the case and showing their biases, and the defense team had no idea that they was doing this. They wasn't included, basically. So if you're not familiar with what an ex parte communication is, it's a written or oral communication between a decision maker and an interested party that occurs without the knowledge or consent of all parties involved in the case. So basically, ex parte is a fancy way of saying you and your partner, them, y'all over here showing y'all biases about this case amongst one another, saying things, and the defense team is excluded from it. And the way this got exposed was that they had the court email was attached to this little chat chain they had going on. And so that got exposed. And, you know, once again, these folks week after week, almost day for day, get exposed for doing something they ain't got no business. So, man, let's get to the content, and then I'm going to pick it up on the other side. Let's go.
Understand probably what was behind that communications. And of course, it is great for a boss to buck up an underling who has perhaps been attacked or maligned. But I don't believe that, and I don't think the court does either, that the court should have been copied on that communications, especially one that reads maybe more like a campaign ad with a source story in it than anyway, I just don't believe it was appropriate. And I would just ask you to please ask the state to halt any future communications ex parte they might want to have with this court. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's a shame that the court would even have to say something like that. But can you all please communicate to everybody in the DA's office to not have any sort of ex parte communications with the court? And y'all may not even know what I'm talking about because I don't think either of you was copied on that email, but Ms. Love was. Ms. Hilton, you were as well?
I do, Your Honor, and I don't know, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think we have a different perception of direct communication with the court, but we will make sure that.
But the court was copied on it. And it could have been an accident, but
Your Honor,
it should have been careful.
But the state did not have the initial conversation with the court. That was a community member, and it was very much also was not a direct communication with the court, but we understand the court's perspective. We understand what the court is saying.
I take issue with any type of suggestion that this was not a direct communication with the court. It went from Madam DA Fonnie Willis to this court. It was a direct communication to this court. It was inappropriate. It was praising Georgia's RICO statutes to the court, which again was not appropriate, Your Honor.
Frankly, I think it might be a good idea to print out the email and make it a court's exhibit to this record. But I think what Ms. Hilton was just saying was that the original communication was not from the district attorney's office. The original communication was, I don't know who this person is or where in the world they are, but some member of the world, member of the public, emailing Ms. Love directly, but copying several other people, the court included, because of course our email addresses are a matter of public record. And, you know, I basically ignored it and deleted it. But as you all know, because I forwarded the next communication to everybody, the elected DA, Ms. Willis, made a decision to respond and directed that response to Ms. Love, but kept everybody, including the person who had made the original email communication, and the court on her response to Ms. Love. And I believe that to be ex parte, and
that is the reason why, as soon as I read it, I had Ms. Persifield forward it to all counsel, because I don't think that should be going on.
And I certainly appreciate it.
So, like I say every time I cover this case, these folks on the state prosecution, these folks that's trying to prosecute Young Thug, like, this whole case has been going on, number one, way too long. Number two, they ain't got to the shit yet as pertain to Young Thug's criminal reign over the city of Atlanta. I mean, they've been hard pressed to find anything that they can stick to Young Thug, and it ain't really been covered enough. The man really just been setting up in the day for day, week for week over the last couple of years, and as far as them being able to pin something on him, he basically a Teflon Don at this point. And then they ain't helping themselves, because all of their witnesses got zero credibility. And it's reflecting the credibility of the prosecutors that's prosecuting this case, because they've been showing unprofessionalism. They've been doing things that they're not supposed to do. I mean, almost every week is something that they did or try to do that was slick, that got caught right in the moment, or it got caught somewhere along the line while they was going through the court proceedings that happened that day. And at this point, they ain't got no credibility. They got just as much credibility as some of them witnesses that they brought in there to sit on the stand to say, hey, YSL is a gang. I mean, that's their whole case, trying to convince the jury that YSL is a gang and not a record label. And it's been going on way too long. If that's the only point that they were trying to prove, and we 2 years or so into this, that tell you right there just how good the prosecution team case is going against Young Thug. And the man ain't been able to get a bond. He just riding it out at this point in jail until this trial is over with and come to a resolution. And he either, number one, get time served and get out, or the worst that can happen, knowing that all we know now, watching this clown show, gets a couple of years in prison. But him going to jail for the rest of his life, or getting 20 years, or all, I don't see that, bro. I don't see how any judge that's presiding over this case and watching the unprofessionalism of the prosecution team play out on full display, having to reprimand them. And basically, this judge done lost her cool quite a few times, and it's been at the prosecution, because they just really just kind of trying to put this case together as they go. And the judge said as much already since she been presiding over the case. She talked about how unprofessional they look. She talked about how they blowing this case. So it's some tea leaves in the language coming from the judge that's telling us all that's paying attention how well this trial is going. And I don't think it's going well at all. I really don't. I mean, they bringing in all of these people, and they trying to use things on the fly, and they trying to use evidence that's not even supposed to be used as evidence. They trying to put things out there for the jury to hear it, and the judge having to come back and dismiss it or kind of scrub it from the court records, because they saying things that they're not supposed to be saying. But they saying things that they want the jury to hear, because once somebody hears something, they heard it. You can tell them to disregard it all you want, but once somebody hears certain things, that's just what it is. It's stuck in their head, and it can tank the case. And that's what the prosecution is trying to do. They trying to, at this point, probably try to get a hung jury or something like that. They're trying to get something, anything they can to go in their favor so Thug don't walk out of jail. You dig what I'm saying? And so that's what it is, man. And I just don't see how. I really don't see how in the hell these folks could put this man away for way longer than he already has been, after sitting up in court, watching this play out, and them not having nothing that lead back to him. I just don't see how they could do that in good faith, bro. So I'ma keep up with it, bro, and I'm going to see what's going on. Every time they get exposed, I'm going to bring it to y'all because it just shows how weak the case was to start with. And Fonnie Willis brought it, just like she brought a case against Trump. And she's done spent more time in front of a judge than Trump has. And this whole thing started with Trump, with her bringing a RICO against him for election interference. And she been getting prosecuted ever since. So at this point, I don't even think she give a damn about how well this case go or if it get thrown out or not, because they trying to steamroll her ass. So, hey man, it's just a whole big mess. And they need to do whatever they gonna do, man. Wrap this thing up, bro. So that man could either, number one, go ahead and get time served, go ahead and try to start the beginning of the end so he can get back to his life, bro. You dig what I'm saying? Because these folks that's in here trying to prosecute him, I don't think they know what the hell they doing, because they really look unprepared every single day they step in court. That's all I got for right now. Till the next time, man. Y'all be smooth. I'm out.